So according to protesters at a Pornhub pop-up, all porn is violence against women. What's up guys, it's me Lori, aka Loretta Chow, founder of thesexreporter.com, and this is another episode of Sex in the News. So Pornhub for the past couple weeks has had a pop-up in New York in Soho, and they've been selling sex toys and books and t-shirts, and they even have a bed with a camera so that customers can go and live stream something onto Pornhub's website. Pornhub, as many of you are probably aware, is the biggest website for streaming adult entertainment, and they said that this pop-up was meant to sort of elevate their brand and get away from the idea that sex and porn is taboo. Well, according to a local news station, PIX11, Gloria Steinem and a group of women's rights activists were not having it. The group gathered last week at the pop-up to protest the pop-up and also to protest the entire porn industry. Protesters said that Pornhub sexualizes violence against women and called the porn industry out for alleged rape, coercion, and physical and mental abuse. Gloria Steinem herself said that porn, as well as sexual harassment, is, quote, about power and not about sex. Pornhub responded in the story saying that they have a zero tolerance policy towards non-consensual content. The article doesn't actually quote any women who work in the adult film industry, but from conversations that I've had, it seems to me that some actresses would take issue with the way they're depicted by these protesters, especially since the depiction is a little patronizing. That's not to say that coercion, abuse, and fraud doesn't happen in the adult entertainment industry, but I think it's fair to say that there's an irony in a group of people who are protesting the oppression of women by saying that they know what's better for those women than those women know themselves. All that said, the porn industry is not without its tragedies, and the latest one was the apparent suicide of an award-winning adult film star named August Ames. Ames was caught up in a controversy this month on Twitter when she disclosed that she didn't want to participate in a shoot with another actor who she found out had done gay porn. Her post sparked an argument over whether she was being homophobic, and that argument included other adult film actors, then spiraled out of control with people verbally attacking her and telling her to kill herself. She was then found dead last Tuesday, and police say that she died from asphyxiation by hanging. So there seems to be a lot of issues at play here that all got mixed together. Some allege that Ames' tweets were homophobic because both gay and straight porn actors are required to undergo the same kind of testing, so there shouldn't have been any more health concern for her doing this shoot than any other shoot. They also argued that if her issue was about the man having sex with another man, that studio disclosures wouldn't have made a difference, because whether or not he had done gay porn before, he could have been doing anything he wanted in his private life. People push back on this and have said that there are actually different standards for HIV testing on gay porn sets than on heterosexual porn sets. They also said that regardless of her reasoning, Ames ultimately had the right to decide whether or not she wanted to do that shoot. So you can see why things got pretty heated. On one hand, throughout society, there is a stigma against gay male sex, and it isn't hard to imagine that that stigma spills over into the adult film industry. That said, if there is any truth to the fact that in gay versus straight porn there are differing disclosure requirements for STI testing, then maybe it wasn't about stigma. But if an actor who has done gay porn is now doing a straight scene with a woman, then theoretically that person would actually have to pass whatever health standards or tests are required for that shoot that he's at then and there. So that means he would theoretically be just as safe to have sex with as any other actor. But even if Ames' concerns at the end of the day weren't founded on any type of proof that her health was actually at risk, the bottom line really was that it was ultimately her decision whether or not she wanted to do that shoot. To give a little context, there is a lot of stigma within the porn industry. In fact, the porn industry makes a significant profit off of certain stigmas, and that goes beyond sexuality. There are also racial stigmas with higher values placed on white women who have sex with black men. And if you haven't yet, I would highly recommend reading a piece by Minnie Scarlett in which she does touch on the whole salary disparity issue and racial stereotypes and stuff. I'll link it below. I bring this up because I feel like a lot of what we see in the porn industry is like a reflection of what is happening in broader society. The answer to these problems is obviously to address these biases at their origin. And honestly, this entire debate could have happened civilly. It's a very valid debate to be had, and it could have happened without personal attacks against Ames. On a lighter note, a 27-year-old English woman says that she's had sex with 20 ghosts and she likes it better than having sex with men in the flesh. So, okay, by going on TV, this woman obviously wasn't going to convince anyone who didn't already believe in ghosts to believe that she's been having sex with them. But she is probably gaining prominence among people who were likely to believe her anyway. And for sure, the hosts of the show were just bringing her on for a collective laugh, so it's a win-win situation. So this is how the story goes. She says that 12 years ago, she was moving into a house with her fiance and she started to feel a strange presence. That presence started to feel more like physical sensations until eventually she wore some sexy lingerie, seduced the ghost, and they actually had sex. But it didn't stop there. She actually had an affair with this ghost, this specific ghost, for 3 years until her fiance at the time, or her husband, I don't know if they were married by then, came home and saw a figure of a man on top of her through the window. After that, she and the ghost, I think, broke it off, and she has had 19 others since then. I'm not saying she did or she didn't, but I have so many questions. One is, how are you supposed to know if you're sexually attracted to a ghost? Or is it like any ghost that fills you up is a ghost that you would like to fuck? Can she even be sure that these ghosts are people? Could she be having ghost sex with like the ghost of a lion? Also, even if you were the type of person to attract a lot of ghosts, what's the probability that you would meet 20 of them in 12 years? And what's the probability that you would actually have mutual attraction with all 20? Now, this woman's name, she says, is Amethyst Realm, which might be the most unbelievable thing about this story. But she might have a ghost fetish, which is slightly disrespectful to the ghost. Can you say no to a ghost that wants to have sex with you? And if you did, would they listen? Or are we talking about like supernatural rapists here? I mean, she sounds like she likes it, but does she really have a choice? It's not like you can stab a ghost or call the police on them. As for more tangible sex subjects, New Hope Family Services is now banned from providing sex education to a school in Baldwinsville, New York. The group, which is an anti-abortion pregnancy resource center, basically has students participate in a skit where they pretend that a stick of gum is a girl's precious virginity that she has never given to anyone before until she gives it to a boy who then chews it. The implication being that once a vagina is chewed up like a stick of gum, no one else wants it. Well, one parent, Gina Tonello, took issue with the fact that the school was teaching her kids that once they had sex, they would be a chewed up piece of gum. So she asked the school to stop inviting that group to teach sex ed. When they didn't, and she heard that her daughter was actually going to be in one of these sessions, she asked her daughter to record it.
I have this gift that I've been saving my whole life. I've never given it away to anyone, but I really want you to have it because I think you're the one. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name? I think you're the one. And I think you and I are going to be together forever. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a little unfinished business to take care of. Can you wait right here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I know I gave you that gift, but I kind of need it back. Can you get it back?
You want it back in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had this gift that I was saving, but then I kind of didn't. I kind of gave it away. But I want you to have it now, okay? Because I think you're the one. Pretty go.
With the recording, Tonello started a website called stoptheshaming.org and took to social media calling out the school and explaining why she felt that this was the wrong way to shame kids out of having sex. And the school has now banned the group from teaching sex ed. People are pretty divided over the subject of sex ed. There are a lot of parents who don't want their children to adopt an overly casual attitude towards sex, which they think the younger generations are all doing now. Those parents believe that sex education that isn't abstinence only and that acknowledges that teenagers might have sex and teaches them about safe sex contributes to that overly casual attitude. But those opposed to abstinence only programs that don't teach you everything that you need to know about having sex safely and about your body say that when you teach a kid or you shame a kid about having sex, then it can damage their self-worth, especially if they happen to have had some previous experience or sexual trauma like assault, or if they're part of the LGBT community and don't fit into the typical narrative of what sex is supposed to be that these programs are based on. In the US, data shows that these abstinence-only programs have a correlation with higher rates of STI transmission and unwanted teen pregnancy. It's funny, I actually think that this chewing gum analogy is a good analogy, not for virginity or sex, but for the message that a lot of more conservative or religious groups are inadvertently spreading through their teachings of sex education. I mean, I understand the motivation for parents to want to protect their kids from growing up too fast and from engaging in risky behavior that might get them an STI or cause an unwanted pregnancy. And I even understand that there are people who have the religious right to want to protect the sanctity of marriage. But I'm pretty sure that parents don't want to teach their daughters that they're worth less or they're chewed up pieces of gum just because they've had premarital sex, or that because they've had premarital sex or had sex with more than one person, that they're any less worthy of love and affection and care from their family, their peers, or their future husbands. Maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm too idealistic, but I think that most parents love their kids more than that. Thank you guys for tuning in. As a reminder, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button below and the little bell next to it to make sure you get notifications for new videos. You can check out the website for more news written and in video, thesexreporter.com. And if you want to support, you can join my amazing patrons that can contribute as little as $1 a month to the cause, which is for sex positive journalism. Also, if you want to check out our new podcast, Insatiable, that I do with my friend Smiley, who is a former XXL lifestyle and fashion editor. We have so much fun and we talk about all things related to sex, dating, and relationships. That comes out every Tuesday. You can find all the links below to follow me on social and everything else. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.